Alright, here's the stock head unit. This is the plastic cover that you're going to have to take off. And inside here is where all of your air conditioning unit goes. The controls for it, the controls for your hazards, everything else that goes inside here. So what you're going to need to do first is you're going to need to pop this piece apart. This piece has to come off, which is like the outer shell, and has all your tabs on it, whatnot. The new radio will come with its own tabs. It comes just like this. So you need to take that apart. Then once you get it, it just pops apart. Once it pops apart, you have all these little spots right here where the screws go in that hold the circuit board down, and it'll have a metal cover plate that hold the circuit board down for your air conditioning unit, and then your vents go inside here. And the vents are held with these little plastic tabs right here, which if you can, we can zoom in here. These little tabs have little clips, so you gotta get a little screwdriver down in here and push the clip, push it down like this as you're pulling up on the vents, and they'll start to lift up a little at a time, and you got to go across the bottom and get all of these. We'll zoom back out. And you'll have to get all of them. There's 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. So you have to push them down. What I did is I pushed them, I grabbed the vent, I pushed them in, I pushed them out, and I started lifting on it, and then grabbed it again, did these, and then click, it finally came up, and then I did those. Finally the whole vents come out. They're just locked into place, and they'll lock in your new one. They have all these little clear plastic illuminated pieces that go in here for your LEDs. You have to take those out and put them in the new one, the new unit that comes. But these screws are hidden right here. You can't see them because there's a metal cover plate, and there's a center little metal cover plate right here that has 3 screws. You have to take those 3 screws out. Then you'll have a circuit board in here with a screw on it. You'll have to unscrew that, and then there's a little ribbon cable. You'll have to lift the flap and pull the ribbon cable out because it's connected to the board underneath it, the big board that's connected down here. Then you can get the metal plate off. You can get the big metal plate off, and then you'll see the large circuit board in here with that ribbon cable still attached to it. Then you can see all these little screws that you'll have to take out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. You have to take out all those little screws. They're kind of like these little screws right here. So you need a little Phillips screwdriver to get them all out. Then that circuit board can come out. Then you can mount it after you put all your clear illuminated little plastic pieces in here for the LEDs on the circuit board. Then you'll be able to put the board back on, and it has all your plugs in it. That board has all your controls for air conditioning, heating seats, if you have heated seats. The radio they send you won't have this part for the heated seats. It'll be blank. You have to knock that blank plastic piece out of here because it's pretty much, I have the heated seats. If you can see right here, it comes with a piece of plastic in there already, so you got to cut those loose and knock them out if you have heated seats, and I did, so I knocked those out. But other than that, it comes with all of these. The only thing it was missing is this right here, airbag. It didn't have this labeling for the LEDs on the circuit board in mine, so it's just on my new radio now, the Android unit, it's just black. I don't have that, but it still has all of these. And that's the stock head unit that comes out of the car. And again, I explained earlier what all the plugs go for. This plug, this plug, this plug, and this black plug, you're not going to use anymore. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those stay unplugged. The rest of these plugs will get plugged into the wiring harness that they provide with you with the new head unit. Just wanted to show you that. It's kind of there's no instruction manual, there's no instruction pictures, there's nothing on how to do this. But pretty much you got to get this cover plate off, and it just top of the radio, and then there's screws over here that hold this in. So you have to unscrew at the top. You have to unscrew these. You'll see the screws that are holding it in. So it's that one up here at the top, those three, and then there's two more over here. Then this thing will pop loose. Then it comes out. Comes apart. All right? So that's basically that. Rider Android head unit for a 2020 Toyota Avalon. This is what the stock Avalon looks like. I have a limited with the JBL audio installed in it, and this head unit worked out perfect for me, so I'm just going to give you guys an overview of the actual hookup. This is how the box was delivered. This is the unit I bought. It has the 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. It's running Android 12. This is the back of the new head unit when you get it. You can see right here on the top left, this is your AM/FM antenna connection. That comes from the main wiring harness that they provide with the head unit. We have a 10-pin connector, a 6-pin connector, a 4-pin connector, an 8-pin, 12-pin, and a 20-pin up here on top. This 10-pin connector is used, the 6-pin is used, the 4-pin is used, the 8-pin is used, the 12-pin is not used, the 20-pin is used. Down here, the coaxial and the optical, those are not used. You use those if you have additional amplifiers or you want to hook a TV to this thing to run television stations, I guess, but I didn't use those. In the center, we have a 2-pin fan connector to keep the unit cool. Down here on the bottom left, we have the GPS antenna connection and the 4G LTE antenna connection. That's provided with the unit. And off here to the right, this is where your main wiring harness plugs in. These are all the connectors that are provided in the box. As you can see, we have a single USB connection, which is the 4-pin connector. Dual USB harness, which is the 6-pin connector. You have the 20-pin connector, which contains your 4G LTE SIM card tray and all your audio and video connections for amplifiers, if you have extra amplifiers. I have the JBL system with amplifiers, but the main wire and harness connects right into the car's wiring harness, so I didn't need to use any of those. We have the 10-pin connector, which is you hook up for your car's reverse cameras, and I have a 360 camera on my car, so it has camera angles from all around the car, and just using this works fine. The main wiring harness. So now the main wiring harness, it contains an 8-pin connector for a CAN box, which is this right here, this little CAN box. They provide that with it. It plugs in to this little white connector right here, and off of that little white connector is a 2-wire connector. You can't see it. It's hidden inside the harness here, so just cut these zip ties off and the harness will open up, and you'll have, I think it's back here, the little 8-pin connector. I'll show you later on in the video where that connects, but that's inside this harness. And then where your AM/FM antenna, that gets plugged in to the back of the unit. Now this extra 4-pin connector right here, this is if you want to keep the stock USB that's inside the center console, which I did. So I plugged this in. So instead of using this one, I plugged this one into the back of the head unit and then plugged my car's wiring harness into this little adapter. This is a microphone. It plugs in right over here inside the 20-pin connector. That little black plug is for your microphone. And then over here are your GPS and 4G antennas. They have 3M sticky tape right here. You just peel off the plastic and it'll stick right underneath the top of your dashboard, right facing the windshield, and they work both fine for me doing that. Down here is a little chart to show you what each pin connector is for. And again, you can just take a screenshot of this, come back here, match up all the pins will fit right in. Just remember you have these little notches right here. So just line your little notches up on the plugs and just make sure the 12 we don't use. Sorry, my screenwriter. Just make sure you align up the plugs and plug them in gently so you don't bend any pins. And the 2-pin connector for the fan is in this harness right here, which is the 20-pin connector. So right there, it's a little black one that plugs in to run the fan for the radio. This is the back of my stock head unit inside the car. Where you see the red X's, those plugs are no longer used in the wiring harness. So you're going to unplug those. 1, 2, 3, and 4, this black one. And they stay unplugged. You don't need to plug them into anything. This one plugs into the main wiring harness. And the main wiring harness is black. So it'll be a black plug to a black plug. This gray one and this white one, their pin layout is unique. So it can only plug in one way. And what I mean by that is, as you can see, this is the stock head unit with it unplugged. There are 2 large pins up here in the corner. And if you look at the center, there's 3 little pins and rows of 3 little and rows of 3 little pins. Same thing happens. So those can only go in. This one over here, this is where the black plug came out of, the stock wiring harness. It has the same. As this outside plug. So these 2 have the same pin configuration. This one does not. So if we go back, we can see that this pin, this plug, and this plug have the same pin configuration. So what you want to use is that light gray one. This is the one you want to use, along with this white one in the center. Black to black. This one over here, this white one over here, is to your antenna. It only plugs in one way. And then this is your car stock USB right there. That gray one is the one that goes to to this pin, right, this plug right here. So down here, that plugs right into there. And you can see in the main wiring harness, this is our black. Let me take that off. This is our black plug. It goes to the black plug in the car. This right here is going probably to the white. And this one over here goes to the gray. this one right here goes to your antenna. And there's your antenna that plugs into the back of the radio, the one that's given to you. So this is the wiring schematic that is given to you from the manufacturer. This is what they sent me, even though it's not the same exact radio. They give you this for the pin layout. But what they're trying to show me here is where this 8-pin connector is right here. It's in the main wiring harness, which I showed you earlier. Make sure you plug that one in. So you can see that 8-pin is right there, and it comes all the way over here from the main wiring harness. Also, like I said, in the main wiring harness, here's your antenna. And you can see it comes over here and plugs in right there. Here's your 4G LTE. You pop that open and your little SIM card goes in there. There's your GPS and 4G LTE antennas that you screw in. Oh yeah, so this is the main wiring harness here. And it has this video RCA. You make sure you plug that into this video RCA, which we can go back here and look. I think it's the 10-pin. Yes. So you can see your 10-pin. And this is for your rear view camera. Right there. That RCA to that RCA in the main wiring harness. Just plug those two in, and your reverse cameras and all your cameras that came stock in the car will work. That's that. There's the US for the stock USB adapter cable. It's a 4-pin. This is your 4G LTE where you put your SIM card. It's a little metal tray. You open it up, put your SIM card in, flap it down. Works fine. Here's that CAN box showing you where it plugs into the main wiring harness, so that white plug. Just a little black box. And here I am showing it in plugged in when I have it connected into the car. Here's your antenna in your stock wiring harness in the car. And that's that plug you plug in from the main wiring harness. So your stock radio, AM, FM radio will work. These are the coaxial and the optical. They're not used on the back of the new head unit. And this is what it kind of looks like when it's in the car. I did that just to test it. And I got an airbag system malfunction. And the only reason I got that is because, as you can see, I don't have the air conditioning circuit board. I didn't have it plugged in, and that's where it gives you a light telling you that your airbags have been deployed or whatnot. So it's part of the airbag circuitry. So that not being plugged in, because I was just testing it out. That's why you get that error, just in case you end up getting it, because you want to test and make sure everything's working before you button it all up. And that's what I was showing you there. This is what it looks like when it's all put back together with the air conditioning unit put back in. Now they provide you with the bottom half cover plate. What you need to do is take apart in here the circuit board from the original head unit and put it back into the pieces provided by the company. And this is the price I paid for it. It was $622 delivered to California. Make sure you get this one because there's other ones selling for like around $489, about $100 cheaper, but they don't come. It doesn't come with the bottom plastic down here for your air conditioning vents and all your buttons. It doesn't come with that, so they're just selling you a screen for $500. I don't know what they're planning for you to do. You can't chop the stock one in half. It's impossible. you have to have a new piece molded perfectly to fit this screen. So make sure you get this one, because I don't know about anyone else, and this is the company, NaviWriter. I'll put a link in the description. And that's all I wanted to show you. Just a simple way of doing it, because there's no instructions in the box. It just comes with all the pieces and parts, and they tell you to contact them through text messages on WhatsApp, and then they'll send you pictures trying to figure out where things go. And it was a little bit of a headache, but I'm pretty tech savvy, so it didn't take me but an hour to figure everything out. But if you're not tech savvy, you might have a hard time figuring out where everything goes. So that's it. Catch you on the next one.